Welcome back to DIYs with Sonja, where we create high-end Christmas DIYs inspired by favorite designer looks, including Pottery Barn and McGee Co, but for a fraction of the price. Today I'm giving you the ultimate uninterrupted DIY experience, a full collection of my best look for less holiday decor ideas from this year in one cozy binge-worthy video. If you love the elegant, collected holiday aesthetic but don't love the designer price tags, you are exactly in the right place. From elevated textures, timeless neutrals, brass accents, and classic Christmas silhouettes, these high-end decor pieces will take your holiday styling to the next level while keeping it beautifully budget friendly. Before we jump in, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a Pottery Barn Look for Less or my Co dupe or any high end I share each season. All right, grab a warm drink, get cozy, and let's dive into these high end Christmas DIYs, Pottery Barn Co Look for Less holiday decor ideas. Let the festive magic begin. I'm starting today's DIYs with one of my favorite decor pieces from last year. I picked up this gorgeous arched frame at HomeSense for $14.99. Not overly cheap, but I did try to thrift one first without any luck. I wanted to recreate the viral arch Christmas tree art from Studio McGee line at Target. Unfortunately, I couldn't find it on their website this year, and we don't have Target here in Canada, so it was time to make my own. After removing the sticker, which was a bit of a process in itself, I carefully took apart the frame. The glass did not come out, so instead of taping it off, I decided to just be extra careful while applying the gold wax. For the frame, I used Dixie Belle's gilding wax in antique gold, one of my absolute favorites. It's so easy to apply, and I'm obsessed with the color. I used the foam brush to gently brush it over the frame, avoiding the glass. If a bit does get on, don't worry, it wipes off easily right away. I also let some of the original black finish peek through to give it that aged antique look I love. The painting was done, I got my Christmas print on Etsy for just a few dollars. I'll link the shop down below. I debated using an ornament print since that's trending right now, but I decided to stick with the Christmas tree design, and I'm so glad I did because it turned out absolutely stunning. The frame said it fits an 8 by 10, so I printed the size and used paper insert as a guide to trace and cut my print perfectly. And what do you guys think? I think it turned out absolutely beautiful. For my next DIY, I wanted to recreate the antique brass bells from McGee Co. They're so timeless and elegant and also can be used all year round. I came across this glass bell, or maybe it's technically a cloche top, but it has the perfect bell shape, so we're going with that. After removing the sticker and giving it a good clean, I mixed a bit of sea spray from Dixie Belle into Midnight Sky chalk paint to add texture and help the paint adhere to glass. Sea spray is great for that. It thickens your paint and gives it that stone-like finish. I applied one coat of the mix and let it dry fully. I also used a small wooden ring for the top and did the same painting process for that. Then I grabbed Moonshine Metallics paint in silver, also from Dixie Belle. I dabbed it over the textured surface using a paper towel. This really brought out all the beautiful dimensions that sea spray created. And it was also my very first time using this paint, and I have to say I'm impressed. To tie everything together, I lightly added some milk chocolate chalk paint for depth. You could easily recreate this using a plastic cloche cover from the dollar store or even a bell-shaped glass piece. The final look mimics the high-end antique brass feel perfectly. Then I repeated the same process on that ring. Once everything was dry, I used my hot glue gun to attach the ring to the top of the bell. Add a pretty ribbon and it's ready to shine in your holiday decor. If you're enjoying these Pottery Barn and McGee Co inspired projects so far, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps my channel and it lets me know you love these look for less holiday decor ideas. And if you haven't pressed that subscribe button, what are you waiting for? Next up, I recently thrifted a bag of small nutcrackers and had a few ideas floating around for them. For this one, I took it outside and gave it a coat of dark walnut spray. My black spray quit working. The can is full, but the spray just won't cooperate. So I went the next darkest option I had. I just wanted a dark base, and once it dried, I brushed antique gold gilding wax again all over it. The transformation was amazing. You could easily do the same with Dollar Tree nutcrackers, even if they're painted already. The gold over a dark base gives such a high-end look for just a few dollars. For my last project and one of my favorites, my friend Sandra actually thrifted these wooden Christmas trees for me. The large one was $2.99 and the smaller one was $1.90, and the smaller ones were $1.99 each. I was inspired by the crate and barrel wooden Christmas tree, but I wanted mine a bit lighter. I also didn't want to strip or sand them, that would take forever, and we haven't had enough sunshine lately for oven spray. So instead, I painted them in burlap chalk paint, just one coat. And once they were dry, I used no paint gel stain from Dixie Belle in golden ash. This gel stain is amazing because it gives you that rich stained look without stripping or sanding. I applied it with a chip brush, let it sit for a few minutes, and then wiped it back with paper towel, though a rack works even better. It revealed the most beautiful wood finish. I repeated the process on the bottom. And just loved how these turned out. Light, natural, and perfectly high-end looking. Today we are starting with these two deers. I got these, I believe, at Dollarama a few years back, and I attempted to do a makeover but then decided against it. So they've been sitting on my shelf for a while. I decided to give them a new life and see if I actually use them in my decor. The first step I did was spray paint them with a gold spray paint. I wasn't looking for a full coverage, just enough for a base coat, and I'm using metallic gold. When spray painting, make sure to use short bursts so you don't get pooling or dripping. You can find decorative deers now in almost every store and in every color, but they can get pretty pricey. Since I already had these, why not give them a makeover to fit my style? Once they were dry, I took some black chalk paint that I had left over from another project. Using a wet paper towel, I dabbed and blended it into the body to give that antique finish, kind of that dented, worn look. Once they fully dried, I went in with Dixie Belle's gilding wax in antique gold and applied it with a foam brush. Here's the difference between one with gilding wax and one without. You can really see the depth and warmth it adds. Then I repeated the same process for the second deer, and here is how they turned out. I think they look so much better now and fit my decor beautifully. If you are enjoying these high-end Christmas decor dupes, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps my channel grow and lets me know you like to see more easy Christmas DIYs like this one. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the rest of my Christmas decorating ideas coming your way this season. For my next DIY, I picked up these small picture frames. They were $2.99 and came in a little bag with other items from Value Village. Picture frame ornaments have been popular for a while and even more so this year. I wanted to create one for my living room Christmas tree, which is still a work in progress. I took the frame apart and recently I purchased Dixie Belle Moonshine Metallic paint in Steel Magnolia. I have used silver bullet in previous DIY, but this one has such a beautiful metallic sheen, perfect for holiday projects. I painted both frames, and once they were dry, I added Dixie Belle gilding wax in silver with a foam brush, focusing on all the little grooves and corners. This gave the frames a soft champagne silver tone that looks so elegant. To finish them off, I glued some red ribbon to the top of for hanging, but of course you can use any color that fits your decor. I plan to add some cute Christmas photos of my dogs once I take them. For my last DIY, I picked up this large canvas and paper print of Santa on the roof. I wanted to create a vintage frame Santa print, which can be pretty expensive in stores. You can find printable art online. I bought mine as a rice paper and I bought mine from Dixie Belle, and I'll have all the links below. I used the Dollarama canvas, though you can also find these at Michael's. To start, I cut off the canvas material along the sides to expose the raw wood frame. Just be careful not to cut too much off. Don't throw away the canvas, you'll need it later. And this made the rest of the canvas that was left on the frame easy to pull off. You don't want to cut it too close or it might end up smaller than the frame. And when choosing your canvas, think about how you want your print to look. I wanted mine to have a bit of a border around it, so I bought a slightly larger size. If you prefer no border, just make sure to measure carefully and buy the canvas that best fits your print. It's usually easier to work with one that's slightly smaller rather than too big, unless you're intentionally going for that frame border look. Once the canvas was off the frame, I stained it using golden ash gel stain, an oil-based stain that works beautifully even on rough wood. While I was staining, I thought of another way you could finish this frame. Instead of stain, you could use paint and gilding wax to create a more antique look, just kind of like I did on the deers. Try adding a base coat in black, brown, or even gold, and then lightly go over it with gilding wax. This combination gives the frame that beautifully aged vintage finish, perfect if you're going for a more antique style piece. Apply it with a stippling brush, making sure to get it in all the little corners and edges. Then wipe back the excess with paper towel or a rag to reveal the gorgeous wood finish. Next, I use gator hide on a canvas piece and adhere the Santa print to it, smoothing out any bubbles. Once it was dry, I applied another coat of gator hide over the top. This gives it a beautiful oil painting effect and protects the surface. Finally, I glued the frame to the canvas. You can also staple it if you prefer. Here is the finished look. It's such a beautiful vintage high-end Christmas art piece on a budget. I picked up this sleigh from Dollarama for $4. At the moment I saw it, I instantly knew what direction I wanted to take it in. My inspiration came from the beautiful McGee Co mini sleigh. Mine is different, definitely bigger and shaped a bit differently, but we're absolutely going to give it the same high-end rattan style vibe. My original plan was to give it a base coat of spray paint and nutmeg. But when I took it outside, I realized I didn't have enough left in the can, so we pivoted. Instead, I used Dixie Belle Silk All-in-One paint in the color Sandcastle. This paint already has primer and top coat built in, so it gives such a nice coverage. I painted the entire sleigh inside, outside, top, bottom. And I used a smaller detailed brush to get in all those little crevices. Once it dried, you could still see just a bit of the red peeking through as it is the most difficult color to cover. And if that bothers you, feel free to add another coat. But I decided to move straight into adding depth with any Sloan Dark Wax, which works exactly like antiquing wax. Using a small chip brush, I brushed the wax on using back and forth strokes instead of buffing it in. This gives it a more natural woven wood look, almost like fall rattan. I'd love to know, have you started crafting for Christmas yet? Tell me what you're making this year and what Christmas style you're going with. Are you doing cozy and rustic, classic red and green, natural, minimal, Ralph Lauren, or something totally different? And if there's a specific look, decor piece, or high-end item you'd love to see me try and dupe this season, let me know in the comments. I'm always looking for new ideas and you all have the best suggestions. I loved how this finish turned out. I kept the legs gold for contrast and just added a few random touches of wax to knock down the shine. To style it, I added some Norfolk pine stems and these adorable wax melts from Dollar Tree so it smells amazing in my entryway. Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. If you're enjoying this project so far, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more high-end Christmas DIYs. I haven't made many ornaments yet this season, so here we are. I found these pattern ornaments at Dollarama for $2.50 for a set of 3. I picked up the gold set and the silver set because they each had a different patterns, and I knew I could transform them into these Pottery Barn inspired Mercury glass ornaments. I started by applying silver gilding wax to all of them. I began with a sponge brush but eventually switched to a stippling brush because it helped push the wax into the details better. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing? I have done Mercury glass look-alike ornaments before on my channel, and I will link that video down below because it was a little bit different if you want to check it out. Christmas times, we'll be chilling and having a good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the windows in the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. Once they were coated, I mixed equal parts water and vinegar in a spray bottle and grabbed my black spray paint. Outside, I sprayed each ornament generously with the water mixture and immediately followed with a very light, faraway mist of black spray paint. The paint won't stick where the water lands, and that's why it gives the perfect Mercury glass speckled effect. While they were drying, I grabbed my bronze gilding wax and brushed it on top of the ornaments for some extra warmth and dimension for the little caps. I can promise Santa's coming to visit. No, he wouldn't miss this in Christmas times. Oh, and once everything cured, I added jute rope to each one for the rustic, old-fashioned look. These honestly look like they came right out of the Pottery Barn catalog. Sunset, it is just getting better on a blanket with the skyline painted in blue. Ooh, yeah, that's what we do. We'll be chilling and having a good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the windows in the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. For this last project, I pulled inspiration from a huge mix of places. You've seen me redo thrifted rattan bells before. Those were a McGee Co dupe, and you can find similar style now at Pottery Barn and even in a teak farmhouse. But this time, we're making our own from scratch. Well, somewhat. I had a ton of natural rattan left over from previous projects. If you're wondering where I get it from, it's just natural placemats from Dollarama. They're affordable and super easy to take apart. I'll link the video where I show exactly how to disassemble them in the description box or eye in the sky. I also grabbed the largest bell I could find at Dollarama, which was $2. You can spray paint the inside brown or nutmeg if the gold bothers you, but I decided to leave it as is. Starting at the top, I used the hot glue gun and wrapped the rattan all the way around, making sure the top hook stayed exposed. When working on smaller surfaces like this, you really do need more glue. It keeps everything tight as you wrap.
But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sanctuary. Doesn't matter, it is Christmas in my heart. Here we go. All right. Now this Christmas, we're gonna dance. We're gonna dance, 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 come on. Dance. We're gonna dance, dance, have a good time. Dance, dance, all night long. We're gonna dance, dance, and have a good time.
Now you already know how much I love working with rattan. I made so many different pieces with it over this past year, from vases to woven pumpkins to even those rattan witch hats I shared last season. It's one of my favorite materials because it instantly gives you that warm, organic, high-end designer look without the high-end price. Anytime I have leftover rattan from a project, I stash it away because I always find a way to use it again.
Dance, dance, have a good time. Dance, dance, all night long. We're gonna dance, dance, and have a good time. I think Santa's gonna come and join us in this song. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sanctuary. Doesn't matter, it is Christmas in my heart.
Once I reached the bottom, I wrapped the rattan slightly over the edges so no gold was peeking through. For that little hook on top, I used a wooden ring and tried cutting it open with my small saw. It did break, but I was able to glue it back together and thread it through the hook or the loop. Then I covered it with a small piece of rattan so everything looked seamless. After everything dried, I used a lighter to burn off any loose fibers or glue strings. Then I took my Any Sloan dark wax again, this time using a stippling brush and blending it as much as possible. It warmed up the entire piece beautifully. You've definitely seen me reach for dark wax a lot. It's one of my secret weapons for aging and warming up almost any piece. I use it on wood, faux rattan, painted surfaces, on bells, basically anything that needs a little depth or that vintage time-worn look. You can brush it on for a dramatic effect or blend it in softly for a more subtle finish. It just transforms everything and brings so much dimension to these DIYs. I styled it with a brown ribbon, but a dark green ribbon will look absolutely amazing too. Now it's sitting on my fireplace and I love how this one turned out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you love these high-end Christmas DIYs and all the Pottery Barn and McGee inspired look for less. Let me know in the comments which project was your favorite, the sleigh, the Mercury ornaments, or the rattan bell. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss more Christmas decorating ideas and high-end dupes coming your way. See you in the next video. For the first project, I'm starting with a few thrifted glass bowls, 2 round bowls, and 1 smaller glass candle holder. My inspiration came from Pottery Barn's light up snowman decor, which I absolutely adore, and I wanted to recreate that same cozy glow for a fraction of the cost. Once the bowls were cleaned and the price stickers removed, I began by gluing them together, starting with the largest bowl upside down as the base, then stacking the smaller bowl on top, and finishing with the candle holder flipped upside down to form the hat. After the glue dried, I used all-purpose drywall compound to give my snowman a soft, handmade look. I applied it by hand to get a smooth, sculpted finish and to reach all the little curves and crevices. It's a bit tedious, but so worth it for that textured pottery-like feel. Once I was happy with the shape, I used a small makeup brush to clear space for the snowman's eyes and a mouth and added a few small buttons to the lower section. For the nose, I used a styrofoam egg from my craft stash, coated it in a compound, and attached it with more compound as glue, filling in any gaps around the edges. After letting it dry for 24 hours, I sanded everything smooth with the sanding block, wiping away any dust before painting. The Pottery Barn version has a soft off-white color, so I use Dixie Belle's E-Cruise chalk paint, which is a beautiful creamy beige tone that gives it that high-end natural look. Once it was painted, I couldn't believe how close it looked to the original, and it cost me under $10 to make. It's such a cute dupe and looks stunning when lit up. When lighting it up, make sure to use an LED candle, not the actual candle, because there's no air in it once you put it in there, so it won't stay lit. Now, for the next project, I'm going to be honest, this one was a total experiment. I found these curtain rod ends at the thrift store for $2.99 for the pair, and I thought that they'd make the perfect an ornament. I also wanted to test out a new to me product, Dixie Belle's Patina paint line. I started with Patina paint base coat, which helps the metal paints react and create that aged oxidized finish. I brushed the base coat evenly over each curtain rod end, leaving the screws in so they were easier to hold while painting. Once dry, I applied bronze patina paint to one and copper patina paint to the other. While the paint was still wet, I sprayed the blue patina spray on the bronze finish. This activates the chemical spray and creates that aged, weathered metal look. For the copper one, I used the green patina spray. The bronze piece turned out beautiful with a rich antique finish, but the copper one didn't quite go as planned. I think the pigment may have settled or not been mixed well enough. Either way, it was a learning experience, and I wanted to show you that not every DIY turns out perfect the first time. I'll definitely be revisiting this one in a future project. For my next project, I found a thrifted frame at a resort for just $1.99. It had a champagne silver tone that felt a little cool, so I decided to warm it up using black wax to deepen the details and antique gold gilding wax brushed lightly across the raised edges areas. For the artwork, I printed a beautiful vintage shell Christmas bell print. My first try wasn't quite the right size, so I trimmed it down and tried another print to fit better in the frame. I traced around the glass insert to get the perfect fit before placing it inside. These Christmas bell prints are so popular right now. They bring that classic timeless charms that fits beautifully with the Pottery Barn and vintage inspired holiday look. I'll link the shop where I purchased the digital prints below so you can try this project too. For my final project, I'm making some Nutcracker stocking holders inspired by Pottery Barn's bookends. I thrifted a pair of stocking holders and found a bag of small wooden nutcrackers at the thrift store as well. To give them the rich metallic Pottery Barn finish, I used antique gold gilding wax, brushing carefully into all the grooves and details. The wax goes such a long way. I dipped my brush only a few times to cover both nutcrackers completely. To make the base and hanging hooks match, I brushed a light coat of the same gilding wax onto the metal parts, blending everything together into that beautiful warm gold tone. Once the paint was dry, I glued each nutcracker securely to its base. And here's how they turned out. These are such a classy high-end look for a fraction of the cost, and the perfect finishing touch for a Pottery Barn inspired Christmas mantle. I picked up these picture frames from Dollar Tree, and if you remember a few DIYs ago, I shared a very similar frame, just slightly larger, that I found at HomeSense. These Dollar Tree frames are a perfect substitute if you couldn't find the HomeSense version. Even though they're smaller, you can still recreate the same elevated Ralph Lauren inspired look. I started by taking the frames apart and bringing the pieces outside. I spray painted them in black. I only have a satin finish on hand right now, but it really doesn't matter because the black will be completely covered later. The satin finish actually looked quite beautiful on its own, so you could leave them like that if you prefer. But you know me, I love a vintage layered look, so I kept going. I used Dixie Belle's antique gold gilding wax on one frame and their copper gilding wax on the other. These waxes are incredibly creamy, highly pigmented, and perfect for adding antique metallic highlights. You can apply gilding wax with a stippling brush with your fingertip for more control or with a cloth for a softer, more subtle sheen. Then they dry quickly, blend beautifully, and a tiny bit goes a long way. For the inserts, I designed these myself in Canva and I'll have a free link down below for you to download. I sized mine to fit the frame as closely as possible, but depending on your printer, you may need to trim them. I used the glass from the frame as a guide to cut them down since the backing was slightly larger than the insert area. Once the print was trimmed, I placed it into a frame. You could secure it with a little tape just to make sure it couldn't shift. These turned out so adorable, the perfect little Ralph Lauren dupes with all those classic colors and patterns. What colors or patterns say Ralph Lauren to you? Deep reds, tartans, gold? Let me know in the comments. For the next DIY, we're making stunning textured ornaments. I picked up both small ornaments and these giant statement ornaments from Dollarama. First things first, I removed all the ornament caps and took them outside for a light coat of spray paint. This helps the next layer of paint or wax grip better. Starting with the large ornaments, I use Dixie Belle's chalk mineral paint in rustic red. This is the most gorgeous deep holiday red. I applied one coat, let it dry. And while that was drying, I moved on to the next ornament. For the second large ornament, I use Dixie Belle Silk Paint in Midnight Green. This paint is a primer paint and top coat all in one, but on shiny surfaces like ornaments, it usually needs two coats unless you create texture like I did. After applying the paint, I use the same brush to lightly dab all over, building a soft dimensional texture. While the paint was still wet, I coated the entire ornament with a generous amount of baking soda. Now I let this dry. Back to the red ornament. I mixed just a small amount of baking soda into the paint before applying it. This gives great texture and also helps with coverage. I have so many different ways to create Christmas ornaments with different techniques. I will link one of my big videos that showcase all of those ornaments at the end for you to check it out. After painting it, I covered the entire ornament with baking soda as well. Yes, this part is messy, but so worth it.
Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Once both ornaments were completely dry, I used a clean brush to remove the excess baking soda. You can also use your hands to smooth and blend, but brushing first helps lift most of it off gently.
We'll be chilling and having a good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sand. You and me. Doesn't matter, it is Christmas in my heart. And I can promise Santa's coming to visit. No, he wouldn't miss this in Christmas times. Oh, and the sun said it is just getting better on a blanket with the skyline painted in blue. Ooh, yeah, that's what
Next, I added gilding wax to the ornament toppers to give them a vintage brass look.
the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family.
I also added a bit more wax to the green ornament since I didn't let the paint dry long enough. I didn't let the wax dry long enough and I smudged some of it. So learn from me and let it dry before adding it. Both ornaments turned out stunning, rich textured, and so luxurious, giving them that velvet finish. If you're loving these high-end Christmas dupes so far, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps my channel grow so I can keep making look for less DIYs for you. Would you make these in red and green or try another color? Tell me below. I think brown would look absolutely beautiful. Now moving on to the smaller ornaments, and this is where we bring in the classic Ralph Lauren tartan pattern. A friend printed a tartan design for me on rice paper, which works similar to napkins. If you can find affordable tartan fabric, wrapping paper, or napkins, you can absolutely use those instead. If not, printing on rice paper is a great option. Regular printer paper might also work, but it will be stiffer and harder to contour around the ornament. When cutting my strips, I followed the natural pattern lines, so some pieces were wider and some were narrower.
We're gonna dance, dance, have a good time, dance, dance, all night long. We're gonna dance.
I covered my ornament with Mod Podge. I only had the dishwasher safe version on hand, but any Mod Podge works. To apply the strips, I placed them like across 12 to 6 and then 3 to 9, and then fill them in the gaps between. Don't worry if the ends are hang over. Once everything dries, you'll trim those and tuck them into the opening.
Have a good time. I think Santa's gonna come and join us in this song. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be
After applying all the strips, I added another coat of Mod Podge over the top and let it dry fully.
Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels.
Then I trimmed and tucked in the edges and added the ornament topper. I left the topper as they were, just with a simple spray paint finish, and I think they look beautiful. Mine did turn out a little rougher, the ornaments, than I hoped, because the rice paper tore on me a bit. So if you want a smoother finish, I definitely recommend trying fabric instead. But I still think these are charming and very Ralph Lauren inspired. For the last project, I'm working with these plain wood nutcracker. If you follow me on my home channel, you've probably seen these appear all throughout my decor. I picked up 2 more because I wanted to give them a luxurious Ralph Lauren twist. I got them at Dollarama and they were $5 each. I originally planned to paint them in all Ralph Lauren colors, but the wood was soaking up the paint too quickly and it just didn't look right. So I pivoted, which happens all the time with DIYs, and I took them outside to spray both completely black. Now, I know some of you aren't fans of black Christmas decor, but stay with me. I created 2 different finishes, so there's something for everyone.
Wanna come and join us in this song. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sanctuary. Doesn't matter, it's Christmas in my heart.
For the first nutcracker, I added antique gold gilding wax to the face, the knob on the hat, the hands, and the ends of the drumsticks. Basically, any rounded detail. This gave it such a cute, polished, high-end look. For the second nutcracker, I wanted a fully engaged vintage feel, so I brushed the gold wax lightly all over the entire piece. This technique adds instant warmth, patina, and that collected over time charm. And again, this wax goes a long way, even in a tiny container. Here they are, such elegant classic pieces, and I can't wait to use them in my Christmas decorating this year. Which finish do you prefer, the detailed gold accents or the fully vintage gold wash? Or do you just prefer the old, the original styled nutcrackers with all the different colors? I'm starting today's dollar store Christmas DIYs 2025 with this Christmas tree cone I picked up at Dollarama for $4.75. You can totally use a styrofoam cone or even make one from cardstock, but I love the size and price of this one. For this Pottery Barn dupe, inspired by the lit birch tree that retails between $113 and $283, I needed wooden spoons from Dollarama. In total, I used 4 packs, 3 large and 1 small. I started by cutting the handles off the spoons and saving them for the future DIY projects or daycare crafts. Using hot glue, I glued each spoon onto the base of the cone with the pointy end downwards and the cut end facing upwards. Once I began gluing around the bottom, I quickly realized the spoons didn't sit right because of the plastic leather-like trim on the cone. So I removed one full row to make everything fit properly. You obviously won't have to do this part if you are using a styrofoam cone or you made your own. For the second row, I placed each new spoon where 2 bottom spoons met, slightly overlapping the tip so it created a beautiful layered effect. I repeated this with the large spoons until I reached the top area where there was only room for 2 more rows. Then I switched to the smaller spoons for a tapered finish. At the very top, I wrapped rope around the tip, hot gluing it in random spots to secure it. After the three structure was finished, I mixed equal parts water and Dixie Belle's coffee bean brown chalk paint, brushed it on lightly to create random drips and natural depth. Once that dried, I used white wax to highlight each spoon, blending it as I went. Now for the fun part, sparkle. I took it to the garage and sprayed the whole tree with adhesive spray, working in sections. While it was still tacky, I added spectra glitter all over for a magical winter glow. To finish, I wrapped twinkling lights throughout the tree. And that's it. An almost 20-inch Pottery Barn lit birch tree dupe for about $20. Such a gorgeous look for so much less. And this tree is not only perfect for the holiday season, you can totally use it in your winter decor in January. If you loved this high-end dupe so far, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps my channel. This next DIY is another fun one, McGee Co dupe using Dollarama terracotta clay, and of course you can get clay anywhere. At Dollarama it costs around $2. I only used half the package. It was already the perfect color, so I did not need to color the clay. I started by warming up the clay with my hands so it was easier to mold. Once it softened, I placed it between two sheets of parchment and rolled it out about quarter of an inch. Don't make it thinner than that because it increases the chance of cracking. Using Christmas cookie cutters, I cut out some of my shapes. My inspiration was the McGee Co Gingerbread cookie ornament set, which retails for $36 regular price and $18 on sale. Mine came in under $2. Now that the shapes were cut out and before letting it dry, I used a straw to punch holes for ribbon or rope. To help prevent cracking, I let them dry for at least 24 hours, placing them between two damp cloths so they dried slowly and evenly. Once dry, I added puff paint for dimension. I created dots, swirls, and little designs. You can be as creative as you want here. And once that dry, I added rope for the rustic look, but ribbon will look beautiful too. I tried using glitter spray, but even though the bottle was full, it wouldn't spray. I even used a pin to clear the nozzle, but no luck. Same issue I've had with this brand of spray paint before. If you know a trick to fix this, please share it in the comments. Even without the glitter, these turned out beautiful. Definitely a budget gingerbread ornament dupe worth trying. Next up, more ornaments. I picked up these plastic ones at Dollarama for $2 each, and I loved the shape. And I've seen them at Dollar Tree as well. I wanted to create a velvet look finish, which I showed in a previous video on flat ornaments, but this time I wanted to try it on these curvy ones. I used midnight green and chocolate paint. I mix each with equal parts baking soda, and if the texture gets too thick, just add more paint. This mixture gives great coverage and helps the paint adhere, and it gives it a little bit of texture. After applying the paint, I coated the entire ornament in generous layer of baking soda and let it dry. And then I repeated the same process for the other ornament with mixing the paint, painting it, and then covering it with a generous amount of baking soda. Once dry, I used a dry brush to brush the excess off. This reveals the most gorgeous velvety texture, so soft and rich looking, and these paint colors were absolutely stunning. Let me know down in the comments which one is your favorite so far. For my last project, I made over 4 ornaments using the Moonshine Metallics paint from Dixie Belle. I've been so excited to try this paint on ornaments to see how they would look. Originally, I planned to use gold digger and deep woods, but once I started painting, I decided to add steel magnolias too. These ornaments were inspired by McGee Co high gloss baubles, which sell for $60 a set or $30 on sale. I'm using plastic ornaments that I picked up at Dollarama, but again, you can find these at Dollar Tree, Michael's, Amazon, really anywhere. Dixie Belle's Moonshine Metallics are highly pigmented, water-based metallic paints that give incredible coverage and rich luminous finish. They're buildable, easy to apply, and perfect for adding a high-end sheen to ornaments, furniture, and decor. These paints glide on smoothly, dry quickly, and offer that gorgeous reflective shine without needing multiple coats. They're ideal for creating luxe, designer-inspired finishes, especially for holiday DIYs. Before painting the last ornament, I wanted to show another technique, adding paint inside the ornament and swirling it around. I started with a little paint, added more as needed, and swirled it until fully coated. Then I placed it upside down in a narrow cup to drain the excess. This gives a slightly different look than painting the outside. So I painted one ornament the regular way so you can compare the both. I love the variations and honestly I'm obsessed with how these turned out. To finish them off, I added black wax and bronze gilding wax to caps for an elegant vintage touch. Here are all the metallic ornaments together, both the painted and then the swirled one, and they look absolutely stunning. Honestly, I'm obsessed with every single one of today's dollar store Christmas DIYs. Thanks you so much for watching today's Dollar Store Christmas DIYs 2025. I hope these Pottery Barn and McGee Co dupes inspired you to create beautiful high-end Christmas decor on a small budget. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like, subscribe, and leave a comment telling me which DIY was your favorite. Your support means so much and helps more people discover these budget-friendly Christmas ideas. I'll see you in the next one. Happy crafting!